It's the state's understanding that the parents are in agreement for the father to maintain the health and dental for the two remaining minor children, that the father was actually paid ahead at the end of the prior month before proposed support was to start. We're also in agreement as to Mr. Jeffrey earning more than the cap. And so 25%, Your Honor, of his net resources would put guideline at $2,300. However, it's the state's understanding that that amount is wanted by Ms. Medina without the travel credit that was done in the 2020 modification order. Mr. Jeffrey is asking that the travel credit continue. I believe testimony from the parties will be that Mr. Jeffrey is in Virginia and that he has been visiting with his children and paying the travel costs. And it's the state's understanding that Ms. Medina's argument will be the children shouldn't be penalized for him choosing to move to that state, especially when he has the income over the cap. We're not certain trying to go above that just guideline.
All right then. Well, this only had this pop up a couple of times in my career, so let's see what the testimony is, and the court will see what the court will do on this one. Again, folks, obviously guidelines, and Ms. Medina is considered to be in your children's best interest that the father have as much access to them as possible, and the code makes specific sets this method up so the court can look at the fact that he is actually seeing the kids and he's actually having to pay for that transportation back and forth. And I'll ask the state to call you both as witnesses. We'll get some data. And again, Ms. Bongad, I'll ask you to also go into the I'm not sure. I don't think I'm gonna go into the necessity of him having to move to get this job. It's my understanding from your opening that he has, we've already found that there was that visitation, and this is the same location he was at the last, as far as the last order was concerned, Ms. Bungat?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay, all right then. Well, there hasn't been a substantial change of circumstance. Then we'll see what I can do one way or the other. But at this time, I'm gonna go ahead and ask both parties to raise your right hands, please, and I'll hear what y'all want me to do and why you want me to do it. So at this time, do both of you solemnly swear or affirm your testimony going to give your days the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth will help you?
I do.
I do.
All right, you're both officially under oath, and I'll go ahead and allow the state to call you both as witnesses. And obviously, since we are looking at child support that is maxed out, sir, the state will have the right to ask you questions about what your actual earnings are to see if you're in a better financial shape to afford more or less of the travel expenses. So I'll let the state proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Mr. Jeffrey. Sir, what is your full name?
Dame.
All right. Is that me or Mr. Jeffrey? Is that him cracking up?
I couldn't hear him very clearly, Your Honor.
Mr. Jeffrey, go ahead and turn off your video, sir. The bandwidth might be eating that up. So yeah, I'll let the state repeat the question. Thank you. Turn mine off.
Sir, would you please repeat your full name?
Damian Anthony Jeffrey.
And sir, who are the children you have with Miss Medina?
Davion Jeffrey and Nevaeh Jeffrey.
And sir, is it correct that the two of you have a total of 3 children, but your oldest child did emancipate?
Yes, ma'am.
And sir, how old are your 2 remaining minor children with Miss Medina?
13 and 14.
Do you have any other children besides these?
I do, but not up under child support order, ma'am.
Okay, so how many other children do you have who are under the age of 18?
None.
Okay, so we were able to hear my opening statement, correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're aware that we were basing it on 25% of your net resources to come to the guideline amount of $2,300 per month?
Yes, ma'am.
And sir, are you familiar with the prior order from 2020?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Would you agree, sir, that your income has changed and specifically increased since then?
Yes, it has.
And so, sir, has the amount that you're paying in travel costs changed from 2020?
Yes, it has.
And sir, what has that change been?
If just a little bit above what the documents that I sent to you guys. Normally for summer, it's pretty low. But for the winter months, Thanksgiving and Christmas, it could range anywhere from about $1,800 to $2,300 a month, or for their flights.
And sir, back in 2020, I believe you had testified to this court and there was no dispute as to your total travel costs being $1,800, which was why each month there was a deduction of 150 so that your amount was deviated.
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
And so, sir, the current total yearly amount, do you have a number for what it is right now?
For flights, I do not. I know I did provide what I spent for the 2024 year, as my kids' Christmas plane tickets have already been purchased.
And what was that amount, sir?
I want to say total maybe $2,000. I'm not for sure. I would have to pull up and if you give me a second, I can pull up the records that I sent to you guys.
Mr. Jeffrey, if you don't remember, you can certainly say that, but
Oh.
was the amount you just mentioned for just the two minor children or all three?
No, just the two minor children.
And sir, was there anything else? Well, what is your current monthly income if you know it?
14,000.
And is that based on one source or two sources of income?
That is based on a total of 3 incomes.
What are those, please?
My retirement from the United States Army, my VA disability, and my current employer.
And sir, taking all of that into account, would you agree that that actually totaled $18,346.74 for a gross amount?
Yes, that sounds correct.
And deductions in your case included your state's income taxes of $805.67 and the health insurance, dental insurance amount you pay per month of $141.
Dental is 141, and medical, I can't remember what the amount you said, but yes.
Okay, and then, sir, that leaves us with net resources of $13,837.20. Would you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
And so, sir, if the state of Texas did not impose a cap so that 25% would be multiplied by that 9,200, you understand you'd be paying much more than the 2,300 per month.
Yes.
Specifically, sir, $3,459.30.
Okay.
And sir, do you and the mother communicate at all about your minor children's financial needs?
No.
And so, sir, if you were made aware of anything significant that's changed since 2020 for your two minor children, would you have any problem paying the guideline support due to changes in their needs?
That's kind of a hard question. But if she communicated with me, I mean, it wouldn't be an issue.
What means do you all use to communicate now?
Via text message.
And would you say that the two of you are responsive or that there are some delays in getting the information across?
Sometimes there's delays.
Okay. And sir, moving on from the contested issues, the rest of the proposed order, including you being paid ahead, you maintaining the health and dental for the children, all of that was acceptable to you, correct?
Yes.
Anything else, sir, you wanted the court to consider at this time?
No, ma'am, just the continued travel credit.
Okay. Your Honor, I pass this witness.
All right, thank you very much. I'll be back in just a moment, sir. Call your next witness, please, Ms. Mongat.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Miss Medina. Ma'am, what is your full name?
Davina Alana Medina.
Miss Medina, was the information Mr. Jeffrey provided regarding your minor children correct?
As far as which ones are in the order, or as far as the communication, which part, ma'am?
As far as their names and ages.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, ma'am, you understand, based on my opening statement, how we got to the numbers and the proposed order each of you had a chance to review?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you able to hear Mr. Jeffrey's testimony in full?
Yes, ma'am.
And so you were actually in agreement with the proposed order being approved by this court, which was him maintaining the health and dental, him paying the guideline child support amount, and we actually didn't address any future pay at that time, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else, ma'am, you wanted to add to, was anything that Mr. Jeffrey testified to regarding what he pays for visitation or that he's actually exercised it, was any of that incorrect or what you needed to clarify?
The last time the order was placed for travel, it was $50 a month per child, which was the 3 minor children at the time, which totaled the $150 a month for all 3 of them at the time, which now we have the 2. That's the first change. His income has obviously significantly changed since the last order was placed, and his transition out of the military was finalized after that time, and he has continued to live in Virginia to maintain the income he now has. And my children have gotten older and they participate in different extracurriculars, and I have communicated to him and his wife in group text message in the past as far as extracurricular costs that my daughter was looking at having for cheer, and neither of them has responded at all in helping with any out-of-pocket costs, which can get pretty high in extracurricular.
Ma'am, you're going way past the question. Okay, so let's slow down a little bit and let the state expand on it. Thank you. You may proceed, Ms. Mongat.
Thank you, Your Honor. And apologies, Ms. Medina, I wasn't very clear with that. So bottom line to what you were just stating is there have been changes that to you justify a modification of this order.
Yes, ma'am.
And then secondly, you were trying to explain why Mr. Jeffrey should pay the guideline amount of $2,300 and that this court should consider not necessarily giving him the same deviation for travel as before.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. As far as your circumstances, do you all live in the same place you did in 2020?
Yes, ma'am.
And your children remain in the same school district?
Yes, ma'am.
And since 4 years have passed and you mentioned your children getting older, what new activities do they have that they didn't before?
My son is taking on track. My daughter is now in dance because she's in middle school. And my son is in football. So football, track, and dance.
And do each of those activities require additional expenses that you weren't having to handle before?
Yes.
In a month, is there an amount you'd say you pay for those activities, or is it easier to say each year you've paid X amount extra?
It's probably easier to stay by year.
What has that looked like for 24 and then 23, if you know?
Easily 1,500 extra.
And so that amount, at the very least, is what it's taken to ensure your children can participate and meet all the requirements financially for their activities.
Yes.
Anything else, ma'am, you wanted the court to consider as far as your children's extra needs that perhaps weren't considered in 2020?
Just the additional school supplies going into the higher grades now, graphing calculators, things like that. None of those things are helped with from the other party. That's all out of my pocket, as well as holidays and just their interests getting older or more costly.
And ma'am, as far as the current support amount of 1,920 that began in September of 21, when you only had 2 minor children, have you been able to use those amounts to cover what's needed for your minor children?
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else, ma'am, you wanted the court to consider?
That's it.
Thank you, ma'am. Your Honor, I pass this witness.
All right, anything on redirect to the father?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I'm gonna start with you, ma'am, and then I'm gonna go to you, then I'm gonna go back to you, sir. Is there any okay. The oldest child is emancipated, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, is that well, I'm still gonna call it a child because I call my 35-year-old former Marine a child still, so there we go. But is that child still in school or out on his own or out on her own? I'm sorry.
He is in the military. He's in the Army, Your Honor.
Okay, he's in the military at this time, so he's out on his own. All right, thank you. And ma'am, I've got testimony from the father that he does do his regular visitation, and you testified earlier that the original amount was based on me giving him $50 a month per child, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You say sometimes y'all having a problem with communication, ma'am. You know, the court's in thing to do is these days is to order parties to go ahead and start using the parenting app. And the main reason for that is the main reason is to help with communication at one spot. The other main reason is that the court can get the information from the parenting app going forward in case it's ever needed for the purposes of the court hearing. It's a lot easier to get that than it is from text. It's made by lawyers with lawyers in mind. So would you have a problem with the court ordering going forward that you sign up for a free parenting app? And going forward, I would order all communication. It has a texting function. It has a cell phone function. It has a FaceTime function. It even has a money transfer function if you want to use that for something extracurricular. But the bottom line is, would you have a problem with the court ordering that at this time, ma'am?
No, Your Honor.
All right then. And again, ma'am, I'm probably going to do that, but it's up to you to set the count up and then get him the information so he can log in and start using that going forward. All right, thank you. All right, ma'am, is there anything else you want to tell me at this time?
Not that I can think of, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, Jeffrey, is there anything else you want to tell me at this time, sir?
Sir, I did want to make a remark to some of the statements that she made, and I thought that would have been done in cross. But I am fully aware of my daughter doing cheer last year. Me and my daughter did speak about that. Along with my son doing football and track. I did fly down to see my son's football game, and that was my intention for me and my wife to do that as well when they are in these things. So I do want to just let you know that is not a factor. And as far as communication, I am grateful that you talked about that app, because from now on everything will go through there. She does not communicate, and I just want to reiterate that as well. Other than that, sir, that's about it for me. Thank you.
All right then, sir. And I had one final thing, sir. Over the last 12 months, have you had any special expenditures that you have done as far as the children is concerned? New iPad Pro, laptop, something major like that, sir?
No, sir, I do have an iPad, and I've expressed to her on numerous occasions because she cut her house phone off, and then she take the kids' cell phones when they're on punishment. So I have asked her about sitting that iPad down with them so I can have that continual communication with them. As we speak today, currently, my kids have been on punishment. For my daughter, 2-3 weeks, my son maybe a week, but this continues to happen.
Okay, real quick,
Whereas
right now under the prior order, do you have electronic visits with the kids twice a week already?
no, sir, I do not.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, you will going forward, sir. That's my
Thank
norm. I thought that was probably already in there. And putting them on lockdown or some type of punishment that does not change that. So, ma'am, I'll come back to you in a moment. But, sir, the norm is that on non-visitation weekends, when you don't have the children on non-visitation weeks, it's kind of hard during the school year, especially with older kids. But I always order FaceTime electronic visits or telephone electronic visits, wherever you want to do it, on every Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Time. After football season, that means when 60 Minutes comes on, okay?
Right.
And I usually also throw in a midweek one, but again, when I start dealing with teenagers, that one's really hard. Football practice, dance practice, that's all problematic. But so I normally just go with the one on Sunday. Or if it looks like Sunday's one of those hectic nights, everybody's getting ready to go to school, I'll go ahead and make it on Saturday, but I'll usually make it on Sunday. So do you have a problem with at least any and all time? And I will okay, you sending them the electronic device that do the FaceTime. As long as she's got Wi-Fi or you put a SIM card in it, it's got telephonic abilities. I'll go ahead and order that done, sir, and make that for the at least every Sunday at 6 p.m. Is there a problem with that, sir?
No, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, then. All right. Anything else, sir? And I'm getting ready to go back to mom on that same issue of electronic visits, and I'll let you know ahead of time, both of you. The free app on this one is called AppClose, AppClose. It's the #1 parenting app in the country. It's free. And I'll go ahead and order everything, all communication concerning the kids going forward will now be through AppClose, and that will set that up. But for what we were discussing as far as the Sunday telephonic electronic visits, sir, is there anything else at this time on that? And I'm getting ready to go back to mom.
No, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, ma'am. Again, that I thought you already had the electronic visit. That's my standard always with people who live, especially at these distances away. I usually do it on Sundays at 6 p.m. Is there a problem with that, ma'am?
No, Your Honor.
All right, and of course, their kids, so they can call dad if they want to or anything, and I'll let dad go ahead and provide that method. I'm assuming, ma'am, you got Wi-Fi. You look like it looks like you got a nice house there. So yeah. So obviously a Wi-Fi one will do on that one, but yeah, even if the kids are being punished, and believe me, I know how that has to happen, and I've heard it before myself in my real life. So, but as far as that time frame on Sunday, ma'am, that's not to be taken away. All right.
Yes, Your Honor. If I may,
Yes,
just
sir. Yes, ma'am.
okay. My kids are grounded from their phones right now,
Okay.
but both have their Alexas, and their dad is programmed into their Alexa, and they are able to call him through their Alexa.
Okay.
Also, I do communicate through group message with him and his wife, and they are aware that they can request to speak with my children even when they are grounded, and I always do so.
All right, well, again, ma'am, I'll let them do that through AppClose going forward. And obviously, if they want to ask for something, or he wants something extra on a Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that, hey, I don't think this is the night the kids have anything. It's okay for me to call. Yes, set it up, please. All right.
Okay. And does the same apply as far as when they're with him? Because he takes the cell phones I pay for, and I'm not able to speak to them openly while they're in his care.
Oh, yes, ma'am. As far as it's concerned, especially with long distance visitation, because in the summer he gets 42 days, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, then, sir. Then that applies in reverse also. As far as when mom has the kid, and you have the kids with you, and mom gets to talk to them on those Sundays at 6 p.m. also. All right.
Yes, sir.
Not a problem. All right, folks. Anything else you want to add before I make my ruling? And I'll let the state make a closing statement, and I think I'm ready to go on this one. So, anything else, ma'am?
No, he's never mentioned an iPad to me, Your Honor. That's it. I was just
Well, again, well, he just did, and now you can tell him, hey, your dad's giving you an iPad. Okay, there you go. All right. All right, so sir, make it happen, because you just said it under oath, so that's good enough. All right, anything else, ma'am?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Jeffrey, anything else, sir?
No, sir.
All right, Ms. Bongat, anything else in closing that you're asking the court to do at this time? I'll let you go ahead and do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Based on what the court has told the parties so far, I guess the state is just requesting that with regard to the confirmation of the non-agreed child support review order, the state's requesting to go ahead and put in that the court I guess on its own motion or with agreement of the parties, went ahead to address visitation since the final decree of divorce, at which time both parents were represented by counsel, respectively, Ms. Prater and Mr. Baker, did not include that, and the state hadn't pled for it. But then, of course, Your Honor, rulings on the child support issue and confirmed the parties' agreement to Mr. Jeffrey maintaining health and dental.
All right, then. So the court's going to grant that. Again, folks, circumstances change, life changes. It is what it is. Originally, like I said, I did this based on dad's salary and giving them the fact that we reward fathers for going to pick up their kids to a certain extent. And based on mom's testimony, I was doing that at 50 per head. Well, it's down to 2 per head. So again, not to be a total little jerk about it and take everything away and not give mom everything extra. Again, dad makes a nice living now, but ma'am, I am still going to give him, instead of $150 a month, I will give him $100 a month credit. I've flown, I've noticed how much airline, well, it's always in flux with airlines. So it's all seemed to have gone up lately anyway. But the bottom line is I'm going to go ahead and let him keep the credit for the 2 children under the age of 18. So that's $100 a month deviation going forward. I'll go ahead and order the app close to be used going forward, and everything else is by agreement. The Sundays with each party, when the other party has children via electronic communication, and everything else is per the agreement of the parties. Is there anything specifically, Ms. Bongat, you need me to rule on at this time before to clarify that issue for the parties now?
Your Honor, just confirming that our proposed order went ahead and waived costs as is court's practice for prior military, but if not, I'd ask for a ruling on that as well.
Oh yeah, always. Prior military, we waive court costs.
Thank you,
And
Your
first responders and lately school teachers. So yeah, that's being a first responder. So anything else then, Ms. Bongat?
No, Your Honor.
All right, folks, I'm going to start with you, sir. Anything else that you need specifically me to clarify at this point, or something you don't understand?
Yes, sir. Just wanted to know when this will take effect, and then what the actual payment would be.
All right, Ms. Bongat, what was the start date in the not agreed to child support review? Was that December 1 or what was the date on that one, please?
So that one, Your Honor, was going to be December 1st.
December 1st. All right, sir. I always use the date that was in the original order. I don't go back there, behind it. I don't go forward in front of it. So the other order would have started on December the 1st. I'll go ahead and make this with December the 1st also.
Okay.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Jeffrey?
What would the actual payment be? I'm sorry.
All right. Well, Ms. Bongat, giving him the $100 a month credit, what would the actual payment be going forward, please?
$2,200, Your Honor.
$2,200, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anything else, ma'am?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Thank you both very much, and I'll allow the state to prepare that order and circulate it at this time, and we're off the record.